Good morning. Welcome to Words of Torah. My name is Rabbi Johanna Hershenson. This week we are studying the portion called Tzav. It's the second parasha in the book of Leviticus. And it begins with instruction for the high priest and the other priests that when they prepare sacrificial offerings, in the process, in the ceremony of the offering itself, the priest is to put on one set of vestments, enter into the space in which the offering is made, burn it to ashes, and then the priest is instructed to take those vestments off, put on another set of clothes for coming out of that sacrificial space and meeting again with the people. Is this a dress code? Is this dressing for success? Is this dressing to make a statement that inspires oneself and others to think in a certain way? Is it a shared message, the way we dress? My predecessor here in Bend, Oregon, Rabbi Glenn Ettman, is very fondly remembered by some of us in the congregation for his gorgeous suits, whether on the bima or on the river trail. And I myself, as a rabbi, am remembered in Temple Bethel in southern Orange County for breaking the ban on, an unspoken ban, by the way, on women wearing pants on the bima. Even last week, my new boss in the Biofeedback and Counseling Center where I'm working told me I was groovy. And I asked him what he meant by that. And he said it was the way I dress. I was wearing a dress and tights and cowboy boots. Believe you me, I enjoyed being referred to as groovy. Why? Well, maybe at some level, I like thinking about the fact that I'm groovy with it, unabashed. I do remember when I was younger, my intention in dressing was much more towards that idea of dressing for success. I mimicked the image I wanted to present out in the world. And as I was finishing rabbinical school, I began by investing in expensive but well-tailored suits. And I looked sharp in them. And female classmates of mine also entering into our first round of rabbinic placement interviews pulled me aside and tried in a very loving way to tell me that I essentially looked too sexy for a rabbi and that I was sending messages about women rabbis that they felt negatively impacted their presentation in the interviews we were attending on campus. That hurt. It hurt a lot. And I did switch to well-tailored pantsuits. After some time, not even really noticing it, I began keeping my hair extremely short. I wore very little makeup. I subconsciously was presenting myself as a man, or as close to a man as a woman could look in a man's world. I began remembering how in college I dressed in baggy sweatshirts and t-shirts and sweaters to hide my curves and to appear more smart and serious about learning, right? I wanted to be viewed as one of the nerds. As I was finding my way in the rabbinate, I liked that the tailored pantsuits made me feel more executive-like and more powerful. And I know that the way I appeared or presented myself did in fact have an impact on how I felt about myself. I did become more executive-like and powerful in the way I understood those adjectives. A senior male colleague whom I trusted told me privately and openly that I was intense and intimidating. So I began noticing that. I did have a chip on my shoulder in those well-tailored pantsuits at work. I began noticing that I was angry about the fact that I somehow began filtering my femininity to please colleagues and congregants alike. They never asked me to filter my femininity, and yet, with reflection, I think I did receive messages that were clear and unmistakable. I learned in smaller, less formal synagogue communities, folks were so grateful for my competence as a rabbi. My attire was less of a focus. And now, well into my 50s, I noticed that my work attire is casual and comfortable, but also pretty and flattering. My aim, if I think about it, is to present myself to others as both self-assured and confident. Well, that is both self-assured and accessible. I wonder about you. When you dress in the morning or for going out later in the evening, how do your thoughts, your fears, and hopes influence how you present yourself in the different places you travel? I wonder if you've even thought about it. How interesting that our Torah portion that seems so far away in its talk of priests preparing for sacrificial offerings does indeed trigger us on simple things like dress. And in fact, we still get dressed, so there must be some meaning and purpose there. I invite you to reflect and explore in your world. I hope you have a great week. See you next week.